Good Monday morning to you. Woo! Welcome in the morning, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, alongside Conrad Van Order. I don't even know if wild is a strong enough adjective to describe what happened in college football over the weekend. Strange, bizarre, crazy, unfortunate, unpredictable. I don't know if there has ever been a college football weekend like the one we had over this weekend. If you, I will put it like this. You would have given me $1 million this weekend, well, before Saturday, that we would see not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 of the top 15 teams in college football go down and go down in epic fashion. This isn't one of those that, it's a late squeak by. No, there's the number one team in college football never held the lead against a team that had not beaten them since 1984. And Conrad Van Order, you were the first person I thought of when this went down. And in incredible fashion. And please understand when I say this, that this has happened. Like now we're living it. The Vanderbilt Commodores knocked off the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I'm not even going to sit here and try to, sugarcoat it. It wasn't like Vanderbilt kind of just snuck this one by. Nah, they lined up at every single level and beat up on the Alabama Crimson Tide to the tune of 40-35. Vanderbilt had 418 total yards of offense. Like, I want you to truly process when I tell you this. And hear me out. The Vanderbilt Commodores knocked off the Alabama Crimson Tide. And believe it or not, just when I looked at Saturday, when I go back and I watch Saturday, we should have known something was up. Because one, I didn't think, I will be 100% honest, I didn't think Vanderbilt had a dog in the fight. I knew that Clark Lee had put this Vanderbilt team, and they have improved in a lot of areas, but I still thought the gap was too large for them to even make it a ball game with Alabama. Oh boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong, because Vanderbilt controlled the football game from beginning to end. Think about this. Alabama never held the lead against Vanderbilt on Saturday. Not once. Not a single time. Vanderbilt came out the gate, ready to play ball. Vanderbilt took the fist fight to Alabama, and Alabama did not respond in the way that I thought they would. Vanderbilt, yes, the Vanderbilt Commodores knocked off the Alabama Crimson Tide 40-35. And now when I thought that the SEC was already kind of crazy going into this season, I don't know what to expect in college football from this point forward. And all the parity that we thought that we thought we were going to lose because of NIL and the transfer portal and all these things. Oh, it don't matter. You still got to go out there and play football. And Conrad, I just want to give you your opportunity to share just your thoughts about Saturday, brother. The floor is yours.
Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, it was not good. It was, that's the worst. and there's somebody that, 60 years ago, there was a loss that looked worse on paper. Maybe, Alabama lost to a tech school in 1930. I don't know. This is the worst loss in the history of Alabama football, as far as I'm concerned. It's the most embarrassing. Even going back to, a loss to La Tech in the 90s, or Louisiana Monroe and Nick Saban's first year, and I understand people, it's his first year. A lot of these coaches have their bad losses, and Kirby lost to Vanderbilt his first year at Georgia, but this team is different than that, right? Because we just saw this team beat one of the best teams in the country. This was the number one team in college football. I think we were all convinced, at least for a half against Georgia, that this was the best team in college football. And to go out and have that kind of a performance against Vanderbilt, I mean, it sucked and it was embarrassing. I'll be honest, it still, to a certain degree, doesn't feel entirely real just because of everything you were saying about how it was Vanderbilt. And, it wasn't even something where I could really be, I don't know, I wasn't even really that mad after the game. It was more just embarrassing because it was, there's nothing I could point to of oh, well, Alabama should have won that football. Like, they shouldn't have won that football game. They didn't deserve to win that football game. I mean, there were, I know a lot of people thought the officiating was bad. I didn't think the officiating was good, but that's not the reason you lost a football game. You lost a football game because you couldn't get off the field on third down. And I think that was the most frustrating point for, I don't know how a lot of other people felt watching the game, but, honestly, until the game was over, I had thought Alabama was going to find a way to win, right? Like, even late in that football game, when you're able to score and you get the ball back to Vanderbilt and you go, okay, are they going to onside kick it? That doesn't seem smart here. You got all your timeouts, punt it deep, and you can't get you can't get a 3 and out. You can't get one.
Nope.
And you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, they're gonna tighten up. It's the last drive. Like, they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna have the juice going out there, knowing we get one stop, we get the ball back, we're good. Because that was one of the more frustrating parts of this game is the offense was good on Saturday for Alabama. Like, none of this goes on the offense. I know you had 2 turnovers, but okay, you have a contested pass the defender makes a good play on, bats the ball up. Those things happen, unfortunately. And then, Jalen Milroe fumbles. That wasn't really his fault necessarily. It was more Elijah Pritchett getting the doors blown off of him by that edge rush. But, you have those kind of situations where that's going to happen sometimes. But the offense played well. They didn't get the ball because the defense couldn't stop Georgia or Vanderbilt, and they were able to just run it down Alabama's throat. And how many times did they had to call these little plays where Pavia rolls out, then they got a running back or somebody that just kind of finds a little hole, and it's a little 3-4 yard pass that goes for 12 yards. Like, that happened ad nauseum. And even on the last drive when you just needed to stop, everybody watching it knew what they were going to call, except for Kane Womack, apparently. And I think that's where, at the end of the day, it falls on DeBoer for not having his guys mental. Because what happened is you let Georgia beat you, essentially, is what happened. Now, Vanderbilt beat you on the field, but you got a big head after the Georgia game, and you thought, oh, okay, whatever, it's a trap game. It's Vanderbilt, whatever, who cares? And you didn't take the opponent seriously, and you went out there and you beat yourself, and you got out-physicaled by a team that's better known for, the SAT scores of the guys on that team than how many stars they had next to their name on Friday night. So it's, yeah, I mean, it sucks. It's embarrassing. I guess the good part of it is, again, maybe this is what you needed, right? Maybe you needed to get kicked in the ass a little bit and have somebody remind you that you're not as good as you think you are. And there's a lot of kids out there that are young. And this is what you need sometimes. It's bad. This hurts the resume. The whole, oh, well, you can lose multiple games and still get into the playoff comfortably. And you can when you lose to Georgia or Tennessee or LSU on the road, not necessarily when you lose to Vanderbilt on the road. And I get it. Vanderbilt's better than they have been. And hats off to them. They had a fantastic game plan. Clarkley, they stood on business on Saturday. They knew what they wanted to do, and they went out there and did it. And you got to tip your cap to it, but you got to figure out something quickly if you're Alabama, because not only is your defense a major question mark moving forward and something that may ultimately hold you back from being able to reach the goals that looked pretty attainable about 3 days ago. You've got to figure it out quickly. And I know that what happened to some other teams around the country. I know that Tennessee game looks a little different now. You better win that game. You better win that. You want to show people that you're a team that's still on a mission and can still go out there and compete at the highest level. You better beat Tennessee on the road. You better beat LSU on the road.
Yeah.
You better handle Missouri after what just happened to them. There should be no questions at this point.
Yeah.
The rest of the schedule, you should win. You need to win every game on the rest of your schedule. And, that's the situation they're in. And they can either respond to it the right way or they can respond to it the wrong way. But one thing I will say, I'm sorry, I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit.
No, hey, the floor is yours, brother.
What you saw from Malachi Moore at the end of that game on Saturday, that is unacceptable. And in my opinion, he does not need to play against South Carolina on next Saturday. That is embarrassing. That is, you are a leader. You are a captain. You have been a part of this program for what, 5 years now? And that's how you're going to act. I don't care. I get it. It's embarrassing. You shouldn't have been in that situation. It's frustrating. There's probably some things you saw there on Saturday that reminded you of shades of early last year when that program was in a bit of disarray. And I get that's frustrating. You could not go out there and take the anger out on a quarterback who has whooped your ass for 60 minutes. He deserves that. He does not deserve for you to go out there and try to hurt him or try to send him a message. No, that is unacceptable. Kicking the ball when the ref spots it on the field and kicking the ball 10 yards down the field, whatever. That's you're acting like a baby. That's stuff you do when you are a child and you do not have a parent that has taught you how to act. That is unacceptable when you are an adult and you are a leader and other players, the young players on that team, look at how you respond to adversity, how you respond when you're embarrassing yourselves and when you don't live up to the expectations that you should have for yourself. That is absolutely downright unacceptable. And I don't know if Kalen DeBoer wasn't aware of the extent of what Malachi did at the end of the game, but his comments on that after the game were also unacceptable, in my opinion. It did not seem like you were really holding him accountable, in my opinion. It felt like more of a, oh yeah, it was a tough loss, and some of our guys are just showing frustration. No, that you nip that in the bud immediately, because if you allow somebody to get away with that, you're setting a dangerous precedent in that locker room moving forward. And I know that was a small part of the game, and it came at the very end, but that is something that how him and that coaching staff handle that situation moving forward could ultimately have a big impact on how this team plays out. Because if you let something like that go, that is unacceptable, and that is potentially, cancerous for a locker room if you're going to allow those kinds of behaviors to go unpunished. So we'll see what comes from that, but I will say it right now. The Monday after the game, I don't think he should play against South Carolina on Saturday. I think you have to send a message, and you have to send it loud and clear.
And I agree with you 100%. I think the way that he went about it it's not like you didn't have 59 minutes of game time to dictate how this game could have gone. And I got a chance to see Malachi when he was in high school. He was a dynamic athlete, but like, to your point, you are a captain of this unit. You are a captain of the football team. You are cemented in Alabama football legacy. And one of the biggest stains you're going to have from this point forward is literally being a baby at the end of a football game. And to me, it's okay. I get it. You're frustrated. You have passion for being out there and things like that. But what you did was just idiotic. Like, you let the emotions of the game get to you. And to throw a temper tantrum like that, like, what at that point, what are you doing? Like, cussing everybody out isn't going to make it. It's not going to change the scoreboard. It's not going to change anything that happens. The way that you drive Diego Pavia's helmet into the ground after you make a tackle, if you put that aggression within the first 59 minutes of the ball game, maybe you would have made a couple plays and made a little bit more of a difference. And I think that what Vanderbilt did was start to unravel some things about Alabama's just the culture of it all. Like, Kalen DeBoer is going to have some real heart-to-heart meetings with his players. All right, I didn't come down here for y'all to act the way that to act like that. Like, I would watch it on film, like, okay, so this is what Nick Saban left me with. Like, this is what we are allowed to do as a football unit. I didn't make this jump from Washington down to Tuscaloosa for us to have this kind of character in defeat. Like, man, you lost a football game. It happens. I understand the frustrations, the emotions about it, but to be one of the leaders, a guy that has been in the program 4 or 5 years, you came back for another year to go out here and be a leader for this unit, but then go out there and play like the way that you did. I just think I agree with you, Conrad. It's completely unacceptable. But to the gameplay, Vanderbilt had a game plan that I really have to give them a lot of credit at every single letter. Diego Pavia He's undefeated against teams in Alabama. Came down to Jordan Hare, beat up on Auburn last year with New Mexico State, and then Alabama rolls into his backyard there in Vanderbilt and knocks him off. Like I truly came away just almost speechless of what I saw from Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt took it to Alabama physically, mentally. I mean, just they were out coaching them, out scheming them. And I came away shocked that the defensive line for Alabama was getting truly mauled off the football.
Yeah, they had 0 sacks.
Zero.
And
Diego Pavia was playing out of his mind. He got that dog in him. He is a certified stamp. Boom. He got that dog in him. And it ain't no ands, ifs, or buts about it. That brother right there can ball. And the fact that, I mean, Auburn fans, you're kind of looking at it as, well, what could have been if we would have got him in the transfer portal? We had at least seen him of what he did to us on our home field. Maybe a couple dollars this way. Maybe you would have been able to have him at the quarterback position. But I think just the SEC pecking order, if you would have told me 5 weeks in that Texas A&M would be sitting at the top of the conference, one, I would have thrown up a little bit because I know John Mack. Like, if you thought John Mack was insufferable when Texas A&M was down, just buckle up. Because when you look at the rest of their schedule too, it's shaping up real nice for Texas A&M. And I just don't know if I'm ready to see that. But it's going to be difficult because I thought going into the game that, okay, you're starting Connor Wigman, but I thought he was going to be a little bit rusty. Thought it was kind of the wrong decision. Look at what he did. Like that beat down from Texas A&M over Missouri. You see what Arkansas had me fooled. They genuinely had me hook, line, and sinker. Like, oh man, Tennessee, you know, they could probably make it interesting just because they have Taylor Green and those guys. That Arkansas defense made Nico look like a child out there. Dylan Sampson, now he was toting that thing. Like he did what he was supposed to do. But on the offenses, the rest of the offense, I came away truly floored from just this weekend, like just the entire weekend as a whole. We ain't even got to Auburn, Georgia, because really and truly, I had a feeling that was probably going to come. I knew Auburn would keep it respectful, but that old 4th and 2 by Peyton Thorne, when you have the dive, it is blocked. You see, like the hole is there. And I'm just trying to make sense of what in the world were you thinking? But listen, we want to hear from you. It's Reaction Monday. It is. I know there's a lot of people that want to get some things off their chest, and now is that time. 205-834-9450. You text, you call in of just what went down over the weekend. Alabama, Vanderbilt, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, Arkansas, wherever you want to go, take it there. We get your reaction on the other side. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. Oh, boy. Hey, Conrad. Tell me how you really feel, brother. 622 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5, Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order, and you as well. 205-834-9450. It's a gloomy day here in the state of Alabama. Very rare do we find this where both teams, pretty much every team in the state, besides Sanford, every team in the state kind of had a rough weekend. Of course, Auburn falling to Georgia in the Deep South's oldest rivalry, 31-13. Alabama falling to Vanderbilt, 40-35, and UAB 71-20 against Tulane. So, it's just one of those days. This
not a good day to be a head coach in the state of Alabama.
No. A lot of tough questions.
Unless you're Hatch Tack, then you're.
Oh, Hatch was fine.
You're,
yeah. I mean, they hadn't played in like 2 weeks.
Riding high right now.
Yeah, they hadn't played in 2 weeks. They came out, boom, knocking out the gate. Knocked off VMI 27-3. Okay. I was on the call of that one. But no, man, just an incredible weekend of college football. Just when you thought you had it all figured out, and boom, surprise, surprise.
Craziest weekend in
a long time.
Years.
And if you watch ACC After Dark, you probably went to sleep with Cal holding a pretty comfortable lead over Miami. And then you woke up and you see Miami won the football game.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was targeting at the end of the game, and the fact that they picked that penalty up. Look.
The definition of it.
Look, I get it. Your record is what it is. Miami is a good football team. That is a football team that should have 2 losses. You have gotten saved by officiating, overturning their own calls 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. Should have 2 losses right now, but the officials, that one was, I don't understand that.
It's crazy.
There were a couple of calls like that over the weekend in various games where you're like, oh, you overturned that? That happened a couple times in the Alabama game. Again, not the reason you lost, but just all around, I feel like officiating was not the best.
I'm telling you, man, this is what's going to set October. The month of October has kicked off to a very intriguing start.
Spooky season, man.
It really is at every single level. If you ain't playing your A game, well, you better buckle up. No matter who you have across the field from you, just buckle up. Let's go to the phone lines. Got a lot of reaction here on JOX text line and phone line 205-834-9450. Let's go to Wardam. Don wants to talk some ball. What's going on, Don?
Hey, good morning, guys. How's everybody doing? Conrad, buddy, I feel for you, my man.
No, you don't.
Well, that's true, but
yeah, don't say it.
well, come on, Damien. I'm trying to be nice here.
We ain't got time for that. No, this is honest. This is the honesty hour. We don't play around. We say it with our chest. You don't feel bad you do not feel bad for Conrad. No, you don't.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. You made your point. Anyway, look, I got my own problems to worry about, but Alabama's got your defense. You got to work on that defense, Conrad.
Yeah, they got to do some soul searching this week. That's for sure. They're not very good.
But on my game, Damon, you brought it up, man. I mean, it's time for them to just get rid, just not even worry about Peyton Thorne anymore. If you're going to lose with somebody that's going to play next year, okay? I mean, it's time. I'm tired of Peyton Thorne. I've had it. That play and everything, and for once in the last 6 weeks, Hugh Freeze is right. Run the play that's called, okay?
Yeah, well, and that's something we had kind of said is, when do you get to the point when I know the play says option, but you're kind of hitting that headset before 15-second mark and going, there's no option, buddy. This is the read you're going to make. This is the play we're going to run. This is how it's going to go. And, I mean, you heard Hugh Freeze kind of address that after the game. And I think that's going to be the hardest part for you probably, Don, is that, if you had heard before the game, Auburn's not going to turn the ball over.
Oh, you
probably would have felt pretty good about this game going, at least that it was going to be a close game. And so not only are you able to fix that problem, now a new problem arises, and it's just, it's little mental errors.
It is. It's mental errors. And, I mean, we got mental errors. And I don't know if you were watching the game at the end, and McElroy was calling the game and made a great point on one of our last pass plays towards the end of the game. And he goes, look, I don't know what the play was called and everything. Nothing about that play looked right at all. Okay, I mean, we got a young football team, and sometimes they make a mistake. And I don't know if y'all saw it. We had another pass go right through Cam Coleman's arms again. That could have been a touchdown catch.
Hey, you the one that said he was Megatron 2.0 to start the season off.
I did, and Damien, as I've admitted, I say a lot of stupid stuff. Okay,
Hey.
I do, but hey, listen, that has got to be one of the craziest football Saturdays that I've seen in years. Y'all are right.
It's insane, man.
Everybody got beat. Everything.
Yeah.
But hey, on the change of the subject, I went to Talladega yesterday, and that had to be the craziest race I've ever seen. I don't know if y'all saw that wreck. They had a 28-car wreck, the largest wreck in NASCAR history.
Hey.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let you know I
didn't get out of bed yesterday, Don. I wasn't watching anything.
I didn't see the tape. I didn't even know it was what's going on this weekend. But
I didn't see. I haven't seen sunshine since Saturday.
Let's continue on the phone line. Let's go to John in Tuscaloosa. Wants to talk some ball with us. What's going on, John?
Hey guys, good morning. Good show as always. When it comes to Alabama, you hit it on the head. They just kind of overlooked their opponent. When it comes to Malachi, I've had the chance to meet this young man several times here in Tuscaloosa doing different events. He's going to be the first person to apologize to that team, and he knows he was wrong, and he'll accept whatever comes to him. It was unacceptable. When it comes to Auburn, this is where I disagree with Don. Yes, we got to get rid of Peyton Thorne, but even Peyton said it was RPO called and I hope y'all play this clip for Hugh Freeze one day. Hugh Freeze is a coward. He keeps throwing these kids under the bus when it's his play calling. The other thing with Durden, he came into the SEC this year, the last 3 years, leading the nation in quarterback blitzes and pressures. This year we have averaged less than 6 pressures a game. Last week we only had 4 against the Georgia team where Alabama proved when you get Beck off kilter, he makes mistakes. They did that first half last week. They didn't do it the second half, and he came back. We didn't do it but 4 plays. Our play calling is what's getting these kids in trouble. When you had Hank Brown in there, you tried to throw more passes than runs with a freshman quarterback where your best thing is a running game. He says he wants a 55 to 45 run percentage for Freeze, but we've only had 1 game, including our wins, where we ran the ball more than we passed it. This is on the coach, and he keeps throwing these kids under the bus. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already lost that team. I'll hang up and listen. Y'all have a great game.
I don't know, man. You still got a long season ahead of you. It's not. I don't know. I truly just I don't know. I just think Auburn's have more issues. They have more issues than a lot of teams and talent's not one of them. They have the talent. I mean, if it's not a turnover, it's a third down that you don't get. It could be play call. I mean, a lot of times these guys just aren't making the plays they need to. And there's no I get what he's saying, but sometimes I do think Hugh Freeze does a bad job of taking accountability all the time, but the players have to take accountability as well. Like Cam Coleman, the continuous drops, that's not a coaching error. That's a player making a mistake. And I don't care what year that you are. I mean, if you are the talented, like I've lost a little bit of this kind of feeling bad for the players kind of thing because now they're getting paid a lot of money, and that comes with a lot of responsibility. We're not giving Cam Coleman these NIL deals and all this money, and I mean, he has to make these plays. If you are on the field, if you're one of the 11, you got to make the plays. You're the one of the best 11 that you have. You got to make the plays. They hit you right in the hands. But also, to his point about Peyton Thorne, decision making is still questionable.
Yeah, and I think, and that's the most concerning thing for somebody that's played as much football as he had, right? Is that's the stuff that you shouldn't even have to think twice about, right? Now, if you make a bad throw or whatever, that's something that's going to happen. But when you're just not in control of the offense, you don't know what you're doing when the ball is snapped. That's when it's concerning because that's the stuff that you should have ironed out, and that shouldn't really be a big concern. And I understand what the guy, that caller is saying about Hugh Freeze calling out the players. And a few weeks ago, we were very critical about that. And I think part of that was you didn't hear Hugh Freeze taking a lot of accountability for things. I will give him credit where at least now he is taking accountability for this stuff. But it is also fair to criticize the players. A couple weeks ago, we weren't saying you can't ever criticize or be critical of the players. It's just it starts at the coaching staff, right?
Right.
If you're only criticizing the players and acting like, well, our play calling is great, that's not the problem. That's an issue because at the end of the day, it is your responsibility as the head coach to get that team ready to play on the field on Saturdays. But now, I don't think it's wrong to call out Peyton Thorne or say that he made the wrong decision because he did.
Yep.
He messed up and he knows that he messed up. And this is, again, a guy that has more than enough experience to not make those plays. So I know we have a lot of calls to wait. I know we need to get to another break, but he brought it up. So we'll play it real quick before we go to break. So this is Hugh Freeze after the game. This is him talking about that botched 4th down play when he should have given it to Jarquez, but it ended up being a disastrous play by Peyton Thorne. This is what Hugh Freeze said.
He absolutely didn't go with what we had called. Peyton's a thinker, and he knows football, and he decided to try to run some type of zone read there, and I think everybody was a little confused, but we definitely weren't on the same page there, and I should have used one of our timeouts there when I saw things were going awry, but that's something we've got to learn from. And again, we've got to coach better to where that's really not an option in that moment in time. That was a big drive, man. And we were moving the ball, and so we've got to talk through that one and make sure that doesn't happen again.
Pretty much. That's exactly what it needs to be. Of when he pulls Peyton to the side, you kind of give him that stern little talking to of if we ever call this play again, and if you even think about checking out of it, we gonna have Hank Brown will be taking the next snap from that point forward.
And I think you saw Hugh Freeze kind of reach, I don't know if like his breaking point is the right term, but we saw what happened on the sideline.
Yeah.
We saw him get to the point where it's okay, this is beyond acceptable, and we've got to figure this out. But see you all on the phone line. Keep calling in 205-834-9450 if you want to text in your thoughts as well. And we get to continue getting your reaction to a wild weekend of college football. You're listening to Morning JOX here on JOX 94.5.
6:39 here on Morning JOX. JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order, and you as well. Just kind of reacting to what happened this weekend. And I never thought I'd utter these words, but Vanderbilt with the beatdown. Yes, with the beatdown of Alabama this weekend, 40-35. Georgia taking care of Auburn, 31-13. I mean, Tennessee falls to Arkansas in a just disgusting game. Nico, he looked like a guy that's only had 5 starts. I mean, Arkansas just absolutely, they just had that sun gun looking like a true freshman. And then how about Texas A&M with the that just laying the absolute smackdown to Missouri? Like, I wasn't a big Missouri believer anyway, but if you told me that Texas A&M was going to sit there and choke them out for 4 quarters, I did not see that one on the radar.
No, I mean, I thought that was going to be the big story coming in this morning was, okay, we're going to talk about, Alabama beat Vanderbilt by 30 or something. And, Auburn could put up a good effort against Georgia, but it just wasn't quite enough. And, Tennessee handled business. But, oh, man, Missouri. I thought we'd just be kicking Missouri for the next 2 or 3 days. And,
oh, boy.
No, it's a little different now. But, no, I mean, hats off to Mike Elko and hats off to Connor Wigman. Still don't understand the whole accent thing. But
no.